So Elizabeth Warren has had a disastrous interview on The Breakfast Club. And of course, I want to talk about it. Welcome to the Soapbox. So my name is Jamarl Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. This video will be rather quick because a patron appreciation episode is going to take place in 30 minutes from now. I'm at 6 p.m. But up to that time, I have a video that I want to get in to finish my day, or to close to finishing my day. This was added into the mix, and I thought this video was funny, and so let's talk about it. Now, this is Rachel Dolezal. Now, if you notice, in the earlier picture, first one, she's freckles, a white woman, young, nice looking white young woman. And in this one, she has colored up a little bit. Now, if you remember, this person was going by this notion that she was an African American. And it became sort of a big deal when people found out that she was not. And for whatever reason, people who were African Americans didn't like her running around saying she was African American. This was somewhat embarrassing in regards to this kind of being ripped into the forefront. Now, this is Elizabeth Warren. Now, Elizabeth Warren is running for president of the United States, but she has to get through a primary first. In her political wrangling, let's say back in the last few years, the issue came up of heritage, because one Elizabeth Warren that's running for president had said that there is a part of her ancestry that is Native American. Now, as somebody who definitely has an ancestry that's Native American, my grandfather was half Native American or quarter Native American. You could look at him and tell it wasn't a question. I could see it in his face when I look at the person. I mean, he had straight hair for God's sake. High cheekbones, all that stuff. And that stuff has gone down the line in my family. And so in my family, we kind of just know this. But I would imagine if you got out 10 generations from now and you ask the question, maybe they won't necessarily have an answer. But Elizabeth Warren had said that there's an aspect of her family that's Native American. All right, fair enough. Same Elizabeth Warren gets into a back and forth with Donald Trump because Trump was calling her Pocahontas. Now, her response to this was to get a test to determine how Native American she was. Right off the bat, this is a little dicey. And it comes back that she wasn't Native American at all. Ooh, that burns. That burns. What do you have to say for yourself, Mrs. Elizabeth Warren? Now, to me, this doesn't matter one iota, because this is not in any way assisting my mom with expanding her health care, or assisting her with Social Security, or assisting my uncle in getting $15 an hour. None of that stuff is being emboldened by any of this. And yet, this is the pissing match that these guys were having. And Elizabeth Warren was shown to be false in this. And of course, being shown to be false in something that doesn't matter one iota is still being shown to be false. Also, with this area heritage gets a little dicey. So, Elizabeth Warren goes on to the Breakfast Club. Now, it's one thing to go on MSNBC. They're going to ask you certain questions. It's one thing to even go on Fox, but she was too scared to go on Fox. So, she goes on Breakfast Club. And these guys are somewhat unrestrained, especially Charlemagne. And he is known for asking bombastic questions. What do you think he's going to ask one Miss Elizabeth Warren? Let's watch.
Word.
Yeah, let's watch. Let's watch. This is awesome. It's brutal, but awesome.
I want to clear up some stuff because you know there's a lot of criticism that's said about you, so I want to give you the opportunity to speak on these things. The Native American thing. Do you regret taking the DNA test?
Look, I can't go back, but
you know, you got to explain to a lot of people that don't know. Now, you came out and said that you were Native American
long ago,
and they found out that you weren't. And people were very upset about that.
This ain't for the people who don't know.
No, but a lot of people don't
have that much time.
Because we're putting people up to her.
All right, she's uncomfortable. Look at her. Just look at the demeanor. She's uncomfortable in this conversation. You could understand why.
But
you know, you got to explain to a lot of people that don't know. Now, you came out and said that you were Native American
long ago,
and they found out that you weren't.
There's a lot,
and people were very upset about that.
This ain't for the people who don't know.
No, but a lot of people don't have that much time because we're putting people up to her as well. So that.
God damn it! I don't want to talk about this. All right, but I got to talk about this. I got to say something. All right, say something good. Explain. I got to say something good. Let's hear out.
grew up in Oklahoma. I learned about my family the same way most people learn about their family, from my mama and my daddy and my aunts and my uncles. And it's what I believe. But I'm not a person of color. I'm not a citizen of a tribe. And I shouldn't have done it.
If you had a chance to do it over, would you?
I can't.
Now, here's the thing. Like I said, I don't care about this issue. I don't see this as being a big deal one iota. I don't even know what benefit they believe that she was eliciting from going this route. So I don't know that's there. Unless you're going to say this is kind of a politics thing, like Beto running around with the name Beto, even though he's white as the day is long. But this notion of Beto in a Hispanic district may make you look more Hispanic than what you actually are, giving you some political cred. I don't know what probability of percentage that is that you get from it. I don't know what they're alleging that Elizabeth Warren was able to elicit from this. Meaning, whether there's something nefarious here or not. Whether she was being sinister and saying that she had some Native American in her in order to get some kind of advantage. I don't know what that advantage would be in this kind of overt, grotesque sense. So to me, this doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. That said, there is something to be said about her being roasted on this very specific issue, because this did become kind of a political back and forth between her and Trump over this very specific issue. And she ends up taking that stupid DNA test and gets stuck with the results of the test. But Charlemagne is pushing, because not everybody takes this perspective. There are some people that don't like this notion of trying to, like saying you're Native American and you're not. To a lot of people, that's a big deal. Maybe to Charlemagne, this is a big deal, in which case he's raking her over the coals for it. To each his own. Let's hear him out.
Can't go back, but I shouldn't. But what I can do is try to be a good partner. And that's what I do every day. So, for example, in the
Pivot. I gotta change. I gotta switch. I gotta move. Can't stay in this topic. Gotta move. Gotta get out of this topic. Let's talk about anything else other than me not being a Native American. Let's hear
things we're talking about here. What I want to see us do in education is I want to see us get rid of the student loan debt and make an investment in the historically black colleges and universities. I want to see us in housing, hit redlining head on. I've got the first housing proposal to just smack straight into that. I want to see us in healthcare, address healthcare disparities, and particularly maternal mortality rates for black women. We got serious problems.
I see you talking about.
Got to bring up that black stuff, man. If you bring up enough black stuff with a lot of black people, maybe they'll ignore the fact that we were talking about you being Native American and not being a Native American. That always trips me out. It's like, we gotta, pick a black issue. Yeah, that black issue. Yes. We got to do something about that. Bam, we got to do something about that. I agree with her. I agree with her on all this stuff. Let's let it keep going.
Reparations as well.
Yeah.
Your family told you were Native American?
Yeah.
Charlemagne told.
And what's awesome about this, like they were doing like a hardcore interview. They're like, all of that stuff is nice, Mrs. Warren, and we agree with you on all that. But let's get back to this Native American thing. I wish other interviewers would that stick to it. Let's hear them out.
Tells me I'm Dominican, but I don't believe him.
You are. How long did you hold on to that? Because there was some reports that said you were a Native American on your Texas bar license, and that you said you were a Native American on some documents when you were a professor at Harvard. Like, why'd you do that?
So it's what I believe. That's, like I said, it's what I learned from my family.
When did you find out you weren't?
Well, I'm not a person of color. I'm not a citizen of a tribe. And tribal citizenship is an important distinction and not something I am. So.
Were there any benefits to that?
No. Boston Globe did a full investigation. It never affected, nothing about my family ever affected any job I ever got.
You didn't get a discount in college? No.
You kind of like the original Rachel Dolezal a little bit. Rachel Dolezal's a white woman.
This is, again, this is Rachel Dolezal, just so you know who he's talking about. I suspect that Charlemagne did that entire line of inquiry only to say that one thing. You're the original Rachel Dolezal. I would wager almost anything in the world that that joke was saved up just for that specific line of questioning. Because look, to benefit, to give Elizabeth Warren the benefit of the doubt, it is very possible that her family said, you're mixed with Native American. I mean, I'm from Richmond, from Virginia. You have a lot of tribes in this area, and you have a lot of whites who come away with the same thing of saying we have Native American in our family. Now, she may have thought that. There may have been nothing sinister associated with that at all. And she might have gone through her life, just so happened running for president, and you look back at her life and you have all these instances where she said she was part Native American. Somebody put it to the test, and it was found to be lacking. But again, I still question, what does this matter in the grand scheme of things? And I guess to some degree it doesn't, which is probably why these guys are hitting it so hard. They're a radio show. And Elizabeth Warren comes on the show and you have this one thing that you can pick a joke about. And it's funny because to the audience it has to be funny. I imagine to some people that this was a big deal. It wasn't to me. I took it as the right wing finding something just to kind of poke fun at Elizabeth Warren about. I mean, you have a radio show that's picking up. It is funny that Charlemagne was like, why you do that? Why you do that? why you do that? Like, she had already explained it. That's why I think it was a bit. She had already told him, look, my family just said it. I just grew up thinking it. There wasn't, do you really interrogate each and everything that your family tells you about your family? No, you run it, you run with it. And he's like, why you do that? When you stop thinking that, you're like the original Rachel Doe. That is funny, though. That is funny. So I'm going to end this here because we have to set up for the show. This was not a great interview for Elizabeth Warren because she could not get away from that particular point. She tried. She was like, I want to do great things for black folks. Yeah. That's all good. Let's talk about this thing where you were pretending to be a Native American.